I can ask.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, how they switched off.
Do you want to turn this one off?
This one off, yeah, for the moment, yes. Okay, that's fine.
Excuse me.
No, that's fine, that's fine.
How do we turn this one off so we can use this
No,
one?
no, no, that's fine.
Leave it?
No, just leave it. It's fine. I was just because now we're talking.
It's okay. Yesterday we had no idea. We didn't want to press buttons either, so we just left it.
All right, yes. This can... Okay. All right. So I got this one. Okay.
Oh, you brought your own clicker, fancy.
Yeah, yes, I bought it just for this one. Really. Because I thought that I could have this one and walk around. So it's, but this one I don't want to have like this. Then you're gonna be confused. But. No, that's fine. That's fine. I can stay here.
It works. It works.
Yeah, I would put it later. Oh, I think I can put it on mute. Yes. Yeah.
I can give you a 10-minute warning if you'd like, but it's up
I
to you.
already asked him already.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really organized for.
You've got your person.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, give him the prompt and. Yes. Hello? Okay. Right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming to my session regarding Drupal and OpenAI for content editors. My name is Vincenzo Gambino. I'm a Drupal developer from London, UK. I've been working with Drupal for 7 years now, and I've been a speaker at several Drupal camps around Europe, and this year also in Florida, at Drupal Camp Florida, where I presented an integration between Drupal and the Astro framework. I also wrote the book, also the co-author of the book Jumpstart Development, where I explain how to build an application using Gatsby, Sanity.io, then deploy to Netlify, and then also have a chapter regarding Alexa and Sanity.io, and of course regarding Gatsby and Drupal. So it's been 14 months since ChatGPT has been released in November 2022. So the AI now was available to everyone. There was an interface where you can just talk to the AI, ask questions, see how it goes. Everyone loved it. They start asking questions, see what they can get back. And so did the same the companies. So they saw the potential, they start investing in it, they start creating apps, they started doing everything they could, and they did what is called throw the spaghetti on the wall technique. So basically it comes from a cooking technique where you're cooking pasta, and then you take the spaghetti and you throw it to the wall. If it sticks, it's ready. If it doesn't stick, it's not ready. As Italian, I haven't investigated furthermore. I not use the technique. I just taste the pasta. So, and this brought some like privacy concern. So what are the companies doing with this data? Are they keeping it? Are they retraining the LLM around those data that the user are adding? Because if I'm a company and I want to do a slide around my report, of course, I'm going to give sensible data. What the other companies generating those slides, what are they doing with my data? So basically, they stopped it in Italy, for example, because of the privacy, and now there is the EU AI Act, so just to control what people can do with the data. So after that, there were some fears, a confirmation about our jobs, what jobs was going to take, which one would be without a job. This didn't happen yet. So what happens is to replace a human person, a human being, basically the AI must work without any supervisions, so without any control. But at the moment, we need human supervision. So how we use it now, we generate something, we check if it's correct or not, and then we use it. So it's boosting up our productivity. So we are more productive. We can do things more quickly, and we can concentrate on more productive tasks, for example. So in my case, I need to write some code. I can just give some instruction to the prompt, and that's generated the code for me. For example, for simple script, for comparing arrays of objects with their nested array. So I could spend, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes chaining all the JavaScript functions, but GPT did it in 1 minute. So I could concentrate on other part of the applications. Today, we're going to talk about OpenAI, GPT. I'm going to just go through the terminologies just to make sure that everyone is on the same page. And I'm going to talk about the API. And then we're going to see what is available for Drupal at the moment. I choose 2 modules. One is ChatGPT Content Assistant. The other one is OpenAI ChatGPT Integration. And then we're going to see how they work and how we can extend those functionalities. We see what we can do with the content we have created, how can we use the AI with the content we created. We're going to have a demo and then a Q&A. So OpenAI, we know, is a research laboratory that develops and maintains safe artificial intelligence, and they did the generative AI, which can generate text, images, video, and audio. We can do it through the models. So the most famous are the DALL-E, you can generate image and edit images or merge images. Then we have Whispers and TTS, which stands for text to speech. Whispers changes from speech to text, and while TTS changes from text to speech, so creates audio from text or create text from audio. Then we got the bindings, which is a set of models that can convert text into numerical forms. Those are coordinates. We're going to have a deep dive a little bit later. Then the moderation, where you can check if the content is safe or not, and then with what we all know, the GPT model. ChatGPT is a generative pre-trained transformer, so it does not train on your data, just been pre-trained. Some of the modules has been updated up to 2021, some to April 2023, another one, the GPT-4 Turbo, and the latest one are up to date on December 2023. So that means if you ask any information that happens in January this year, they don't know. The generative AI doesn't know this information. So we use it for chatbots and customer support. We use it for creating content, articles, blogs, and we use it for translation, learning assistance, to create games with dynamic storytellings, and to create personalized recommendation based on user preferences. How do we can interact? We can interact through the OpenAI chat application that we all know, and the OpenAI API that we're going to see now. So the concept is we need to pass a prompt, which is essentially the commands, the instruction that we give to the AI to generate some response, the token that are units of text that the language model reads and processes. So the thing is that machine does not understand the human language, the actual wording, but it understands number. So for example, token is a part of a word or an entire word that is being converted into numbers. And the models is what we saw before, and we can pass the model as well. The prerequisite is that we need to have an OpenAI account, an API key, and a payment method. We can then hit the completion endpoint for GPT. So we do a method post. This is the URL that we can use. And then we need to create the request body. So we pass the model that we want to use, the prompts, the max token, which is the maximum number of tokens that the response can contain. We're going to go through the token later in the slides. And then the temperature. The temperature establishes the prediction of the answer. The lower the temperature is, the more predictable the answer from the GPT, from the generative AI will be. The higher the temperature is, the more unpredictable it is. An example is, for example, I ask a GPT with a temperature of 0, the sky is going to complete the question, say the sky is blue. If I put temperature 2, I'm going to ask the sky is, and it's going to reply the sky is this remote control. It's just unpredictable. So it just gives you everything that is not, sometimes not even related to what you are asking. So this is an example call. So we have this in card. So we have the API key, then the model, the prompt, the max token in the response, and the temperature. And then the response is you have the ID, the model, and then the choices. Inside the choices, you have the response. So inside the text, you have what is coming back from the API. And the usage, you see that the prompts had 5 tokens, the completion has 7 tokens, and the total tokens are 12. Some of the models have limitation on tokens, so the minimum is 4,000 tokens. So this is important when you ask a question and you expect the response. So now we know how to communicate with API. We can see what Drupal offers at the moment, which modules are available. So we start with the OpenAI ChatGPT integration, which is a suite of modules and contains what we're going to see today. We're going to see the CK editor integration. We're going to see the content edit tools, the OpenAI ChatGPT Explorer, and the DALL-E as well. So we're going to generate some image as well. So we install it as usual. At the moment is version 1 in beta, and it works pretty well. So we download it and we install it as usual. Then we need to go to the OpenAI to generate the key. So in here, you can then click the button. This is in your OpenAI account. So you can click the button here, generate a new key. You can give it a name. Then you can select the permissions, and then you can create the key. You got the key, and you copy it and save it somewhere at the moment. Then you get your organization ID. This is cannot change, so I had to censor it here to cover it. This is still in your OpenAI account. And then you go into into Drupal settings, in the OpenAI settings, and you add the key and the organization ID. You save, and you are ready to go. Now we can start installing other modules. So let's start with the CK editor submodule. So we install it as usual.
And then we go to the, we change the basic HTML text format, in this case, from the content authoring settings, and we add this button here. This button gives us some option that we're going to see on the next 2 slides. So first, in the configuration of the text editor, we need to enable it. We need to set the data model, the model, the temperature, and the max tokens for the response. And now we're ready to go. When we create a content, this is the WYSIWYG, and then the CK editor, and then here we see the button. So we have the text completion, we can adjust the tone voice of the content, we can summarize, we can translate, and if you're writing some HTML, we can also reformat it. So let's try it. So we click on completion, we ask him the history of Drupal, you press the button, and it generates the content for you. So, and you paste it directly in the CMS. Now the content editor can check it, can modify, can put some human touch, some personal touch, some emotion, something. Then you can, for example, change the tone. You can say, like, tell me like I'm 5 years old, and this will generate another set of text. Then you can summarize. This has not any prompt. You just select the text you want, and you summarize it. And then you can also translate it. So this is the summary of text that we wrote, we asked before. And now we can translate it into any language. This language is not related to any installed language in your Drupal application. So you can put any language and you will translate it. So for example, if you copy some text from another language, you translate it into English, you paste it here, and then you translate it there. Then we can use the OpenAI content tool submodules, which basically helps you on when you edit the content. You can, again, change the tone, summarize, and suggest taxonomy. You can also suggest title and other things. So this is not amending directly the text in the body. It's just giving a suggestion on the right-hand side of the content editing. So those are the tabs just below the pop auto and the publish option. So we have the analyze text, we have the adjust content tone, we have the summarize text, we have the suggest content title, and the suggest taxonomy. So I'm going to show this one now, the suggest taxonomy. And you choose the body that needs to be checked. You click on suggest taxonomy, and it gives you some of the keywords. So now these at the moment are not related to any of your vocabulary, but of course you can extend it. So basically when you do suggest taxonomy, you pass the body of your content, you pass a list of your vocabularies, of your terms, and then you can ask him, find me the keywords more related to this piece of content, and then he can return your own taxonomy terms. Then how we can extend it, the OpenAI module. The OpenAI uses, fortunately, the OpenAI PHP client package, which is on packages. That means that it's well maintained. And basically, you initiate the client object, and then you can use the completion, create, you pass the module and the prompt, and then you get, again, the results within an array. So you have 0 and then text. And this is how they do it. So in the same way, so we have the client, which is the dependency injected OpenAI PHP client. Then we have the completion method, the create method, and then we have the model that comes from our configurations, the prompt that comes from the text, and the temperature from our configuration, the same thing for the max tokens. Then we change the response into an array, and then we got, again, choice, 0, and text. And then we can use it. So we can extend in this way. We can create other functionalities. Then we have a module, which is a lightweight module. It's a ChatGPT content assisted module, and this can create content, translate content, and create also images. This is much simpler. So you download it and you install it as usual. Then you select in the settings the model you want to use, the endpoint, the DALL-E endpoint, the OpenAI access token, the max token, temperature, and the content types when you want this functionality to show. So now we have in the form, again, so we're creating an article, and we have this link here. This link is not related to the title or any other place, any other field in the page. You just click the link, it opens a pop-up. You can ask what you want. So in this case, again, the history of Drupal. You click generate here, and then it generates the content there. And then you can click on use this content, and then it will be pasted automatically in the body of your content. Neither of those two modules, they have a kind of an interactive chatting functionalities when creating content. So it's just you ask one prompt and then it's just pasting or showing in a pop-up. So you cannot like now do this, now do that. Maybe you can do it a little bit with the other one, but still it's not working properly as a chat. So with this module, you can also translate. And this time, the translation comes from the Drupal language that have been installed. So you click on translate using ChatGPT directly, and it translates at the moment the title and the body, but of course can be extended to any text field that you have in your application and your content type. How we can extend it? If you want to extend it, it does not use the OpenAI PHP client, but using its own service, so it's doing its own Gazelle request. And if you want to use it, you can use the class the class ChatGPT API service, and then you can pass the response with the prompt text, and it's getting all the information from the settings, and then you get the response again. So what happens now? What we can do? So now at this point, we have editors creating content, asking developer for new functionality, working together, creating more content faster in a better way. And what else we can do with this content? We have all this content, all this data in our application, and we can use the API to improve the search experience. For example, we can train GPT with our own data, not fine-tuning, because fine-tuning is more expensive. We can do it with the embeddings and the RAG. Embeddings, we say, which is a representation of the semantic meaning of the word, of the sentence. So what this means. And he saves it in a vector database with points. We're going to see it as well later. The RAG is this technique, basically. It's retrieval augmented generation. And basically, you need a vector database, the retriever, and then the generator that produce informed and contextually relevant responses. So basically, we have a separate database where we store all our data. So how we train the AI with our data. So in the database we own. And then when we retrieve those vectors, then we pass it to GPT. GPT understands it and comes back with a proper answer in a human way. So this is what is an embedding. So it's a vector, it's a point. And when you want to check the relatedness of two strings or two words or sentences, so the semantic meaning, basically it checks the distance in this vector. So if the farthest it is, the less relevant it is, the closer is more relevant. And you can use it for search, recommendation, and classification. So what does that mean in a vector database? Basically this one. So you have the word cat, and it's been stored on this position, this coordinate. We have the word dog that's been saved in this position, and then car, which has been saved in this position. That means that we send first the information to the embeddings model. The embeddings model understands the meaning of what we said and returns this set of points of position coordinates. He knows, because GPT knows this information about cat and dog, he knows that this is an animal and this is an animal, so they can be close together. Car is not an animal, so it's going to be far from there. So basically, it's the meaning of the word. So cat means an animal with 4 legs, close, so will be maybe close to a tiger in that case. And a dog again is an animal with 4 legs and whatever similar. They are similar things because GPT has been trained on those terms, right? So he knows. Then we store it into Pinecone, which is a database, is a vector database. So you can use the API and you can just send those embeddings, so those numbers into the database, and will be stored there. So at the moment we don't need to worry on how to store it and how to retrieve it. We do use the API. To do that now in Drupal, what we need the search API AI. That is enough to just store and get the text, and the user can then use a kind of ChatGPT search within your content. So if you're selling something, the user can ask, I need this type of things, and it's going to retrieve 3 or 4 products that are more relevant to his question. So he understands the questions, not just the keyword of the questions, and then he returns the right data. And then if you want to save PDF attachment, you can do it with Search API attachment. So we install it and we enable it, and then we start the configuration. So first, we need, for the attachment, we need an extractor. I'm using here this the PDF to text extractor. I give the position in my server, and I'm ready to go. I can really extract PDF files. Then I go into the embedding settings of OpenAI, and I specify the model and which server database I'm going to use. So I use Pinecone, and then here I'm going to have my Pinecone API keys. Then in my Search API index, I have this field that comes from the API Search API attachment, so it knows which fields are ready to files, and I set, the types of embeddings, because these translate the meaning of the PDF into coordinates, so the machine can understand it. And then I do the same thing here in the node. So now we can index data into the Pinecone database. Then I can add the block for the chat. This is provided by Search API AI. And then I can ask him this question. So tell me about the AI and healthcare. So it's going to go through all my content, through all the files updated, all the white papers, and it's going to find the relevant things. I can, of course, I can ask more questions in different ways. So I want to know about AI and architecture and the future of medicines, for example. And it's going to get everything that is related to what I asked. So it's not anymore a keyword search, but it's a meaning search, what I mean with my search. So I can talk to him, I can refactor then the result. So ready for the demo? Not yet. There is a concept I want to say before I move on. Is the tokens. So the tokens is a piece of text that has been parsed out. So I'm ready for processing because again, the LLM doesn't understand text wording, it understands numbers. So we need to change this word, these sentences into numbers. And the quickest way to understand it is using tokenizer. So these are poems from James Joyce, Chamber of Music. So here we can see all the tokens. Right, so we have 292 chapters, and we have then the tokens, 76 tokens. And you can see that here they are all separated by colors, right? So we don't need to worry about this. The machine is doing it automatically. And it's doing automatically also the token IDs, which are these. So it converts those words into numbers. Then the numbers will be converted into embeddings, into vector, into coordinates for the meanings. So those are just numbers, and the embeddings is the meaning of the word. So now is demo time. It's a live demo, so it's it's a bit risky. All right, so here I got, for example, one content. I had an issue this morning with Docker, and I had to restore everything, so I managed just to do one content. So we can ask, for example, tell me about AI and healthcare. We send it. So here, for example, we can extend it by adding a like spinning wheel, because it's loading, it's contacting OpenAI, so doing the embeddings, and then coming back. I misspelled healthcare. Yeah. I hope okay, you understood it anyway. So now we have an answer with a description, not just from the content, but from the PDF itself. So if you see here, we have everything related to the PDF. So it's a description, an introduction to the PDF. And then at the end, he's adding the link to the PDF itself and to the content as well. So what does that mean? If you're building a product that has lots of PDF, lots of data, for example, if you're in the healthcare, you have all the white papers, or you are in the legal field, and you have all this data, and the user wants to search. Instead of reading the whole white paper, they can just ask questions and see if the white paper is relevant to them, if the PDF contains what it needs. Another consideration I want to do is regarding the tokens. So there is a limit in the token, the number of tokens you can send to the OpenAI, to the embeddings. To the embeddings, and there is a limit of 4,000 tokens at the moment. Sometimes you can go to 32,000 tokens. But if you have a book or a white paper which is 400 pages long, you cannot send it because it's going to go over all these tokens, all this number of tokens. So what you can do is a technique. You can chunk the text, so you can send small bits. So for example, 1 token at 1,000 token at a time, and then it gets stored in this Pinecone database with the vectors, and you understand again the meaning, and you have a reference to this text here, because this is what I've done. And now I can actually show it, the Pinecone database, which is here. This is the Pinecone database, how the data has been saved. So this is part of the file, as you see here. So it's the file 9, the language. I have the item ID, the server ID, and these are all the embeddings. These here, we don't understand it, of course, but this is the meaning, the semantic meanings of what is in that chunk of text. So the machine can understand it and retrieve it back. Okay, so let's go into the configurations for building this UI, this chat form, and then we'll see how we can create content. So first of all, we need to, of course, to enable Search API. And then we go to the embedding settings. Here is where we define which content can be, which content type can be used. And then here we have the Pinecone server, and then here there will be the Pinecone API. So after that, we go to the Search API attachment. We decide the structure method. We add the binary, the file, and now we're ready to go. We can go now to Search API. I created my Pinecone server here, so I named Pinecone. The backend is Pinecone, because it's coming from the embeddings, and I got the namespace. Now I'm ready to create the index. In my index, in the fields, in the edit here, I got the data source, which is content and files, so I can store my PDFs. My server, this is the Search API server. Then I go into the fields, and again, this is the fields that's been provided by Search API attachment. So it knows all the file fields in the system, and you add it here. And then as a type, you add embeddings. So instead of string, full text embeddings, and this is creating the coordinates for the semantic meaning of the word. Then again, you go to content. Here, you go to body. Once this is done, and all the files and content has been indexed, you can go under structure, block layout. You can add a new one, but I'm just going to edit the one I have. And this is the block for the chat that I showed before, how I communicate. I can search through my form, basically through my site into my Pinecone database. So I select the entity types here, and then in here I got the result messages, the errors, and then here's the block related configuration, and here I got my chat configuration. So I got the model, the temperature, the max token in the response, and the system message, so the first message we send to OpenAI to define who we are. Then we have the assistant messages, so based on the information that the user sent, this is the response, and the context contains the response from OpenAI. So the description of the PDF and the 2 links. And then this sentence here, and then this is the prompt, so this is what we send to OpenAI when we ask a question. And then in advance, we can have the top result, because basically it's returning, when we do a search, returns at around 10 results. We pick the first 4, and then the score and the query length. And then it will be presented basically like this, in this way here, in this chat here. Now let's see how we can create some content. So we go to content, article here, and I'm going to use first this. So I click on text completion. I ask, let's change the topic. And now it's generating the text for me. So generating the content. Here you can see that the status is receiving a response, completed, and now it's waiting. So now we have this content here has been created, and I can use, for example, the other. Sorry. I can select it, and I can translate into Italian, and now it's starting translating into Italian. Okay, it's finished. Now I can reselect it, and for example, I can change the tone voice. For example, I can do make it more professional, and this yeah, basically it's making it more professional. I left it in Italian, sorry. So. Okay, so this is the OpenAI module that also provides the other part here, but let's generate it with the other one. So this is the ChatGPT content generator module, and you can do the same thing. In this case, we can use Drupal, and we can generate it. This is not fancy like the other one, so now he's contacting OpenAI, getting the information, and coming back slowly. Should be done in a second. Should be done in a second. Okay, so we got the text here. You can check it, and as I said, there is not a kind of chat where you can modify it. I can use this content, and now it's gone here. And again, from the OpenAI module, I can analyze the text, so the body field, and I can click Analyze, and this is analyzing the text, so it does not violate any content policy. You can check, for example, for moderation, if you want. From here, you can adjust the content tone as well. You can choose it from something from here. You can summarize the text, and then you can use it in your summary, for example. Okay, so in this case, you just copy and paste it here. So something like that. Then you can suggest a content title, the title, so from the body, and then it says the evolution of Drupal, journey through 2 decades, and then also the suggests taxonomy based on the body field. I can click, and I got the history, the taxonomy. So this can be, as I said, can be modified, so we can send a set of terms and then checks against those. Okay, so now we're gonna do another kind of boring things before we go to the fun part, and we're gonna do the Chat Explorer. So this is how you can play with the prompts. So with the profile for the prompts. So this is the default one. So it's saying that I'm in a Drupal application. So let me change it to GPT-4, and I say, for example, how do I create a controller, right? So I submit, and now I will get the response based on who I am. So I'm in a Drupal application, and is returning the instruction to create the controller. Of course, I set 120 tokens, so it's pretty limited. So it stopped here. But if let me refresh it to clear the cache, then I go again into ChatGPT-4, and I say I am a Laravel developer, for example, and I say, how do I create a controller, and I submit. Now it's going to tell me the information regarding Laravel. So instead it's using artisan, command line, and all the rest. So, and this can be used, for example, if you want to have like a message, if you're not using any of the other modules, you know that you can set your profile here, so a message to make OpenAI understand who you are and what are your needs. So now we're gonna go to the fun part. So we go here, we go to the OpenAI Content Assistant tool. This is from the lightweight module. So we generate an image with DALL-E. I select the text, and I want to show Terminator skiing in Davos. Let's see what happens. Ready? Let's go. So now it's contacting the Dolly endpoint, it's generating the image, and it's coming back now. And it will show directly there. Then we're going to see the difference with the other one. So this is from this module, which is using, I think, a different version of Terminator. I think. Ah, yes, okay. All right. Well, anyway, that's funny as well. But let's go to the real cool one now. And we can ask the same thing. I also saved some picture that I generate in these days during testing, because it's nice. So we're going to use the DALL-E 3 model. We're going to use these because the other are not supported. We're going to use URL, so it's going to give me the link to the image, but I can also get the base 24, so I can generate an image and then directly save it into my application and create a file maybe. So let's do the same thing. Terminator, now it's correct. Skiing in Davos. Terminator, okay. So I submit it, and now it's going to generate an image. And after this one, I'm going to show other image that I generate in these days. I saved all of them because they're really cool. So we wait a couple of minutes because this is a higher quality than the previous one. Okay, ready? Let's go. Oops. Okay, Skynet is coming and is skiing in Davos now. We can, this is the other image that I generated, so this one, there is here a point where it's not, here, if you see here, it's not holding it. Then I generate this one as well. So this one is basically Terminator coding in Drupal. So because of the copyright, it cannot put the Drupal, but with the Drupal, but we have drop and something that is Drupal. Then let me see which other. This one again is Terminator in Davos. This one too. And this one was the first one. I said Terminator in Davos without skiing, and it gave me a kind of a mix between Maverick and Terminator. Okay. Then yeah, we can carry on. So just to finish off. So just to recap, so we saw what's the status of the Drupal modules for the OpenAI is, how we can extend it. So now you can go and talk to your stakeholders. You can just create, generate whatever you want, implement it, see what your organization needs, and then you can start working with it. And we also saw how we can train the LLM with our own data. So for example, we can provide the whole FAQ to the LLM, to the embeddings. It's going to store it into Pinecone, so then we can have a nice customer service that they ask questions and they're going, and the OpenAI is getting it from our FAQ. So now what I want from you, you can go and code, generate more modules, generate more features for this application. Basically what I'm asking you is to draw your spaghetti into the wall now. And you can make your own module. So thank you. Any question? Yep.
So at the beginning of the presentation, you made an example of querying a PDF or a set of PDF regarding healthcare.
Yeah.
So I work for a pharma company. This is a use case that would be very beneficial to us. The only problem I see is that the data is leaving your website. So
Okay.
if you have confidential data, if you have private document, I mean, you need to talk to OpenAI. You need to talk to Pinecone, right? So is there a way to keep everything inside?
You need to trust them because you're passing your data anyway somewhere. You're passing to the cloud in Acquia, you're passing to Pantheon or anywhere. Yeah, just a second. And basically you need to trust those services with your data. So you pass the embeddings from OpenAI, the returns back, and hopefully they don't use it anywhere. But this is what the EU AI Act is. So it's basically privacy and data retention.
I think it's also possible to use other services than OpenAI to create embeddings and to run the LLM, and then you can have full control over the language model and the embeddings models, and then the data doesn't leave where you want it to run. But then you're not using the OpenAI models, of course. But you can use the same system or the same structure if you use different providers than OpenAI. Then you can run this on your data center, for example.
Yes. So you're mentioning something like this, right? Yeah. So this is an open source LLM. So this has also been trained with external data, and this you can download it and use in your own stack. Is not as good as OpenAI, but is a good starting point anyway. Because remember, we are still at the early stage of all these AI. So all these are just coming out and trying to see who sticks on the wall again. So, yeah. Any other question? Okay, so there is just a consideration I want to make. So if you're approaching this world now, as me basically in the past year, you have two choices of approaching this world. Or you go into the academic way, so you start from the bottom, mathematics, algorithms, and then machine learning, and then you go way up to where we are now. Or you do the reverse engineering. So you start from ChatGPT, just there, you start playing with the prompt, then you start integrating a little bit in your application, you start coding simple things, and then depending on what you need, then you start studying all the other bits. So I started from ChatGPT, then I went into the modules here, started doing my API calls, then I saw that I need to store something, so I studied the vector database, and the Pinecone is open, you can use it, so it has API, so you just send your data there. So, and then the next step most likely will be train my own model with some of my data as well. So this could be the other way around if you don't have time like me, because I work, family, so I can do just this bit by bit and start producing something actually. Any other question? Come, yes?
I also played around with ChatGPT APIs, and what's your experience with getting back structured data to basically get not only like text, but structured text, so you have like a reliable answer to it? How would you do that in Drupal PHP space?
So you want to generate PHP code in it? What do you want?
No, basically I want to ask, let's say, the API, give me information in a structured format like JSON or YAML format or whatever, so I can process it in a more predictable way.
Okay, so you want to build like a YAML file based on your information, right?
Or basically use ChatGPT as an API, and the
so
response would be JSON.
Yeah, so there is a module which is in development, so I think it's called is API Views, I don't remember the name. So where you need to pass the information of your application, and it's going to generate a view at the moment. So we are at this stage, but the problem is that again we need to send loads of information. So the whole structure of your application needs to be sent, so for it to generate. And then now GPT-4 is up to April 23, so it knows about Drupal 10, and there is some up to January, so it could be more reliable. Yes, Frederick?
Yes, so we're trying this also. For one client, they had, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Belgium you have the Nasabel codes. It's like if you are starting a company, you're doing, I don't know, drinks and this and that, so it's a certain amount of codes. And every company starter needs to input a text and a number of codes. And we wanted to automate this, and we also thought like maybe we can just put their company text and have ChatGPT give us a JSON list of the codes that we will need to enter into the system. And this is actually possible. So we tried with multiple prompts first, but if you engineer the prompt good enough, then it will give you a valid JSON response with codes that you can actually use in your system. So it might be interesting to try.
Thanks. If if anyone has other comments, because this field is quite vast. So, and it's been 1 year. No, everyone can ask any question. If I can answer, it's fine. If someone from the public has the same experience, then they can answer as well. So, if you have any other question, Fred. Okay, okay. We got some more minutes, so if you want, you can. So we can. Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it's just an observation.
Yes. Okay. Sure.
So one of the use cases for OpenAI for the module is to create text.
Yep.
And there is a temptation by content editors to use this way beyond what it was probably intentioned for, to create sites that have content generated by AI. Now, Google is coming out very strongly against that. I think just yesterday or the day before yesterday, they released an update for their search rank, for their search engine, that basically demotes any website that is found to have AI-generated content.
Okay.
So it's kind of like it helps us. So these modules, ChatGPT in general, it helps us to create the content, but that should probably serve as a starting point.
Yes.
And it should not be taken as, just create the content, paste it in, publish. But that is something which some people are doing already, unfortunately.
Yes, of course, yes. I did as well at the beginning. So I create some LinkedIn posts through ChatGPT. Then after a month, I saw that many other LinkedIn posts were the same as mine. So I start changing it and then try to do some personalization. So I change it. So, but yes, so the thing is the AI should help us be more productive and do something like quicker. So we can create a content, modify it, add more information, your personal touch, and then you can publish it. So that's the thing. And then for the taxonomy is fine. I mean, it just mapping some of the keywords. Okay, right. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, there is a.
Your modules are connected with ChatGPT, OpenAI. Do you plan to connect with other providers?
Yes, I think there is some module. There's another module which is called Augmentor, and I think you can connect with other APIs. I think at the end you need to write your API calls somewhere. So, for example, what I can show here is that you have. Second. So, for example, it's the same concept. You have Pinecone, for example, and then you have also Milvus. This is just for a database, but it's the same things about the AI. And then in the modules here, in the embeddings, you have here the way they do the API calls. So you got the forms and how they will be stored. Everything. So you need to do the same thing for your model. So if you have like Marcel or Claude, you need to see their API and create those calls and then those methods. So I'm not sure if they're already around. So, but they should be. Yeah. Right. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks.